Hello and welcome to Indie Comic Ninja Indie Tuesdays. I'm your host Ben Dupay.
Dexter Jacobs.
Ramondo Burnside.
Ariel Dupay.
We are your independent comic book ninjas. How's everyone doing this week?
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah?
Oh,
Good week for comics this week, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Good week for movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, good week for movies.
What movie are you talking about,
Go,
Ariel?
go, Power Rangers.
Yeah.
She was holding that in so long.
She was
Power Rangers
very excited at
How
the
dare
movie
you.
theater. Yeah, no, it was good. If you, I think like if you watched Power Rangers growing up, it was a really good movie. And if you didn't watch Power Rangers growing up, it was a fucking terrible movie. Like it's just,
Yeah?
it's not
One
a
or the
good.
other.
It is not a good movie. I will say like it's not a good movie at all. But but like it was just a movie built on fan service, and I loved it for that because like they even like play the theme song in the movie, like which is like kind of surprising because they go after this like kind of darker, gritty sort of tone or whatever.
It was still
And
pretty cool.
you didn't expect that song to happen or whatever. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, like if you weren't a fan of the show growing up, you'd be like, "What the hell is this like cheesy '90s
I
song
wanna
they're
see it
playing?"
so bad.
Like
So
it's.
good.
But did you watch that growing up?
I watched the original series.
Yeah,
like, growing
same
up,
here.
where like the Black Ranger was a black dude and like
Yeah,
the Yellow Ranger
yep.
was like an Asian chick. Like,
It was pretty funny actually too.
Pretty racist sounding, too.
Well, it was funny.
It was funny though.
Because like
Yeah.
they made like the Asian guy the Black Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're all standing in a group
Oh,
and
he
like
makes the
in the
comment.
water, and he's like, "I'm black," and the black guy's like, "No, you're not." He's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I am. I'm
Yeah,
black."
I'm the Black Ranger.
yeah, it was good. There was a lot of like those kinds of jokes in there that were pretty funny, but there was a lot of like teenage angst as well that was pretty kind of lame too. So
Yeah.
You don't remember your teenage angst days?
I do I don't need to be reminded of them. No, it was good though. It was good, clean fun. So
I'm gonna check it out.
yeah, but as far as comics go, we had really good comics this week. Dexter kind of hit one for the win on choosing our graphic novel of the week, which was Black Hammer, which is a Dark Horse title.
Yep.
Immediately when reading that, I was like, because man, I still to this day, I haven't really like read a Dark Horse title that I've been super thrilled with.
Oh, yeah.
So this was really, other than like some Buffy the Vampire Slayer stuff back in the day, but even that that's like Power Rangers movie where it's not really a good comic. It's just if you're a fan of Buffy, then it's a good comic. But yeah, that was like, holy cow, this is awesome. Where did you hear about that, Dexter?
Well, I saw it when it first came out, and the art just kind of jumped out at me. And I think I bought the first issue, and it got lost in a stack of other comics, and then I never read it, and I just saw that the trade came out, so I was
Nice.
just like, hey, we should read this. And then
Very
I saw
cool.
Jeff Lemire wrote it, which made me want to read it even more.
Yeah, man, and it seems like because the stuff I've read from Jeff Lemire has been very introspective.
Yeah.
Not very superhero-ish, very like American novel-ish. So
It's interesting because this one is superhero.
Yeah,
I mean, but
and-
it's like superheroes being kind of shoved off to the side.
this was a totally different side of
liked
Jeff
it.
Lemire
Yeah.
that we haven't seen. Like that we've sort of seen the watercolored stuff that he's been doing, which is totally different. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this book. And then this week we're also going to cover The Few number 3. Was it? Yep. What's the one at Reborn number 5?
And
Yep.
Curse Words.
And
Curse
Curse
Words
Words
number
number 3.
Yeah.
So really good week for comics this
Yeah,
week. Just before that, we are going to start letting people know at the beginning that we are a spoiler podcast.
We
so
used
we
to
will
say
be
at the beginning.
Yeah.
we're going to start doing that again because we will be spoiling all of these books because
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
no fun if we don't. So what I recommend to people is go to our website, first of all, go out to the comic book shops, buy the books, read them.
For sure.
Go to our website, indiecomic.ninja, and read the reviews, then listen to the podcast. Then you're getting sort of the full service, like, roundhouse kick of all the comics that week. So
Just lean your face into it. Just lean into it.
get into it. So
And then you should go to iTunes and rate and review our show.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, we always do enjoy the rate and review. But that being said, we also are going to be doing a new segment on this show where we're going to be talking about news, indie comic news. So let's go on to the news segment. I like that. That was good. I got to sample that later.
Making
I was
news.
gonna say.
So the only piece of news I have this week, Valiant, your favorite book of the season, Exo Manowar, has got people talking, and today you get to pick up your own copy. Head to your local comic book shop and find out what all the buzz is about. That is Exo Manowar.
I actually got an extra issue of that to do a giveaway with. So
Nice.
Cool. Is that issue number 1 then?
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. And I think it's a variant cover.
I have not checked this out yet. I'm
what's
eager to
the
get into
down
that.
low on this? Because we don't get review copies from Valiant, I don't think.
No, we don't. So I bought. Capes downtown was doing half price, so I was just like, well, I'll pay full price, and so I got 2. So you want me to just give like a quick what it's about?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Basically, it's this is a continuation of like the story that's been going on, and I forget his name, but the guy who wears the suit, it's basically this like power suit that has its own like consciousness, and it's just kind of like a ball that he's buried off onto his farm. He lives on this alien planet. I believe he is. He's from. Or he's he's like a Celtic, or he's a Goth. He's like one of the Visigoths, so like old German. Like,
So not like, baggy pants and eyeliner goth.
No, this is like the Romans tried to wipe them all
like
out.
actual
goths.
gothic.
Yeah. And
okay.
so I think he was at war with the Romans, and I believe he finds like this alien suit that crash landed on Earth somehow. And he becomes Exo Manowar, and somehow it's allowed him to live longer. I really don't know anything about him other than that very beginning because I read that first issue, and then so now it's like I don't know if it's present time or in the future or something, but he buried the suit. He lives on this alien planet, and he just kind of wants to be left alone to live his life. But there's a war going on the planet, and so they come and they tell him he has to fight, and so he goes to war, and he's basically like. Since he doesn't want to fight, he's put on the front lines and not even given a weapon. And pretty much all these guys are expected to die. They're just kind of bullet fodder. But he's pretty much the only one that survives. And so then he gets brought to the Emperor, and he's asked to go kind of do this special mission for him. And he knows that he can't do it without his suit. So the last page, he goes, not to spoil it.
I was going to say, we're doing full-on recap here. Huh?
Yeah, just a nice short version. But so he goes and he calls on the suit, and the suit's all like, or he says, I need you for one last time. And he said, that's what you always say. And so the suit comes, and I guess it's going to be a cool fight. I don't know. But the art is fantastic. I didn't catch I didn't even bring it. I should have. But the art is really good. The writing is Matt Kind. Which hopefully, I think I'm going to be going to a con in the next week or so, or a month or so I can hopefully get his autograph on there if we do the giveaway. So we'll see how that works out, though.
Nice,
because I might not be able to go. So, but yeah. Anyway,
sounds good.
Yeah, sounds like a cool
it's
book.
a really good comic. The art is fantastic, and Matt Kind is a great writer.
Yeah, and anytime you can support a publisher like Valiant, that's definitely a good thing as well. Just because. We're always reading Image books. They're definitely the largest indie publisher, but there are others out there that are doing good work too. So Valiant is that's a valiant effort on their part. Anyway. All right. So that being said, why don't we get into this week's books?
Yeah.
All right. So first off, why don't we cover Reborn number 5?
Dude. Loved it.
Yeah. So basic what this comic is about. If you die, you're reborn into a fantasy world called a dystria, where you're either born into the good side of things, or you're born into the dark side, or the dark lands.
And it's based on how bad or good you were in real life.
Yep, it's based on like what kind of person you were. So if you were an asshole, you're going to be born into the dark lands, and if you're a nice guy, you're going to be more galley. You're going to be born into the good side. So it follows our main protagonist, which is what's her name?
Bonnie.
Okay, yeah. So Bonnie was born into a dystria. She's actually the chosen one who's going to lead a dystria into their war with the Darklands, and that's kind of what this story is all about. So this week we just kind of followed her a little bit further, and we're kind of watching her quest to try and reunite with her husband. which is a big deal for her because her husband died when she was at a very young age, and she finds out that her husband is actually remarried in Industria like 20 some years later, or 40, a long time, decades later. Yeah. So it's been a long time.
It's a payoff that comes later in the book, and I guess he's been there for like 10 years.
He's been there
because he has 2 kids that he had once he got there.
Yeah,
like he didn't have those kids when he was with her.
No,
he
these
met
are
someone in Industria.
Children born into Industria.
Yeah, like one's like 10, and the other one's like 7 or something like that. A couple years younger.
Well,
something like that.
They've been married he's been married for 9 years.
Okay.
And it just says that they were young, or she just said that like they were young when they met, or when they got there, and so that, like him and his new wife, and so they kind of just like came together.
And they did one of those kind of things where like, oh, we didn't mean for it to happen this way. We're just here and we're lonely, and then we didn't know what was going to happen or where we were going to go, and just happened.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like that whole trope of like when you die, I don't know, like you always see in movies like a guy or a girl who if she's about to die, she tells her husband like,
wait for me,
or don't,
I don't think that's actually how it works.
Or don't, like, they would want the other one to be happy, but then it's like this sort of puts an interesting spin on it to where you're like, you actually have to follow it. No, normally you'd be dead and you wouldn't see that happen. So, now she's having to like actually see that sort of thing play out.
But that's that's interesting though, because typically when you watch a movie or even in real life, I mean, I'm sure you probably had a family member say something to you, or you heard them say it to like, their wife, like your grandpa, say it to your grandmother or something like that. But it's that thing where it's like, oh, I'll find you again, when I pass away, kind of thing.
Like
nobody ever, I mean, depending on your faith and whatnot, nobody technically really thinks like, I'm going to find you. Usually, in this situation, you can, but they didn't know that they could do this till they die and they wake up, and then they're younger. Like she was talking about how she was suffering from all these pills and arthritis and all this stuff because she was like 80 or something.
It's basically
like that
getting old.
Yeah, just going through the normal, getting old stuff, and she comes back and she's 25. She's like, I got a period again. Like,
which
for
is
the first time in 30 years.
Yeah, like she, like that stuff was kind of like crazy how they, weird.
Yeah.
It's pertinent, sir, to this story. Okay,
it is.
Yeah, it is. Actually,
is.
I mean, waking up instantly, not feeling old as fuck.
And tired.
You're like, that would be awesome.
Like when we're old, you're gonna look back and be like, man, I wish I could wake up and not feel so crunchy.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm gonna just break apart.
You wake up, your knees hurt, your arms hurt.
Like how did I get here?
Like I know.
I think one thing that we missed, and I thought was key and important, is that the dog is back.
Yeah, the dog is
I told her he wasn't dead.
Yeah.
I called it.
Roy Boy.
Well, that's how they found the husband, was Roy Boy on his coming back to find them had found the husband. So
no, it's good. I was happy when the dog was back.
It did feel a little weird though, like the way her dad was like talking to the dog, because like apparently she can't understand the dog yet or something, and then like the way that the dog was like leading them, I was just like, is this a villain now? Like it just felt weird to me. It was just strange. But then like they get there and the guy isn't there, which I don't know if we said that or not.
The husband. That's fine. I mean, at the end, the husband's been kidnapped. So she goes to track down the husband. The dog leads him there, and like the husband's been kidnapped by Lord Golgotha and sort of taken to the Darklands, and they're like, you come and get him, basically, but you can't bring anyone with you.
It's actually like written in blood on a wall. Come and get him.
This whole thing was like awesome to me because they go back. They go to the Darklands, and he's basically monologuing to the guy. He's like, saying like, "Oh man, it must suck to be you. I mean, this is the way the world is now, and this is, I run this, and all my minions they had no leadership, and I came and took them to the next level, kind of thing. And it's like now I have you, and guess what? I get to kill you all over again. Do you recognize who I am?" And the guy's like, "I don't know you. You're talking to me like we know each other."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, we know each other." And then they kind of do a flashback of him being shot as an old man when he was sniped or whatever, and then basically paints the picture like this is the guy that killed him in the real world, and now he's gonna kill him again in this way. He's like, I'm looking forward to killing you all over again. And I was like, holy shit.
That seems really weird though, because like there's no build up as like why he was killed. Like there's no explanation. It's just like he was just sniped for some reason in the real world,
right?
And then apparently by this guy who becomes Golgotha, and he's just like, so like, what does that even mean?
I guess that guy was a serial killer or something in the other world. He was just like shooting people like random or something like that, and then he finally got taken out. That's what I remember.
But it almost feels like he has a personal vendetta against this guy, but there's no story there for it. And then
I'm sure I'll come.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is it says to be concluded, which suggests to me that that there's only one issue left. I don't know. It just seems like a lot to either put into one issue or they're going to not explain everything, which kind of bothers me. But whatever.
I dig that part. I mean, I not dig it, but I get what you're saying about that. Like they really haven't painted enough for that to kind of have a payoff as far as why he wants to kill him so bad.
Yeah, there should be like to me there should be like an explanation of what the sniper was doing.
Yeah.
Obviously he wasn't there shooting people out on a roof for no reason. So there's a story there as to why he was out there killing people. Hopefully they tell us that.
And there's always
maybe they're going to conclude this story arc. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Hard to say.
It's tough to say. I don't know. Yeah, in this story, it's been kind of a bittersweet thing because it often leaves more questions than answers.
Yeah. Well, and I know following Greg Capullo on Instagram,
Twitter?
I think, or Twitter, either one, because he posts a lot of the art even from this book.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he made a comment once, I remember, about kind of like stepping away from it for a little bit to go do, I think, some Batman maybe.
Yeah, him and Scott Snyder are working on. It's been described as a Batman rock opera.
Oh
comic.
Yeah.
So,
so it kind of almost feels like this comic is a back burner thing. Like it's just not the most important thing on their things to do right now.
It's definitely like I would say it's probably not as important as DC work because Greg Capullo has always done a lot of work for DC,
and I'm sure he makes a ton of money from DC.
Not as much as you think. I don't know. Yeah, we think of. I sometimes I tend to think of these guys as like rock stars or something because they're just like they're movie stars. They don't. But comic book artists don't get paid very well for the work that they do.
I just feel like though he's on like the top of.
Yeah, he's
DC's
definitely
list.
at the top of the game, though. I mean, like if there's a pyramid as far as comic book artists and how they're getting paid, he's at the top somewhere. He does great work. So, and bringing it back to the art in this book, I thought it was fantastic artwork.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of Spawn a little bit,
Especially like when they're in the Darklands.
Yeah.
That's where it really shines and shows the evil.
Yeah.
In the drawing,
and just kind of trippy, weird stuff, like this weird giant that she kills with 6 arms.
That was cool too because in the beginning of the book, it kind of shows them on this like. I hate to reference it, but like a Hobbit like journey, where they're like, okay, this is how deep we were in the Darklands. We gotta fucking fight our way out of here, and shows like a montage. We're gonna take a montage of them fighting their way out of that. You know, killing these monsters and fight all these fights they're having to go through, and
I enjoyed that. I was like right when you said that I was about to bring it up too. Yeah, like the creatures and stuff. I like the one that they showed like an underground underneath them as they were walking.
It was chained up, wasn't it?
There's a chained up robot.
Yeah, it's really cool.
With like weird foxes.
Just little stuff that they're not ever going to address again. It's just like here's how weird this place is. Like, and that's enough. So
I dig it.
Yeah. Star ratings on this one. What do y'all think?
I give it an 8.5.
Cool.
Yeah. I was gonna say 8.
I dig that. I'm gonna go with Ariel on that. 8.5.
Yeah, I'm right there. 8.5, somewhere around there. Yeah, I think it's a great book. Definitely, it's good for what it is. It's a fun fantasy story. I don't think it's like the best book I'm reading right now by any means, but it's definitely one of the first indie books I pick up when it's that week.
For sure.
So definitely
good
go and
payoff
pick it up.
Finally, to some answers.
Yeah. I was a little upset that the hate kitten died so quickly.
I'm still salty about that.
Yeah, I know, man.
General Frost should still be alive.
General Frost, you
call him a hate kitten.
Yeah, man. They should have let that thing spawn out a little further. I don't know. I would have enjoyed that. But all right, that's cool. So we can move it on to why don't we talk about the Few and. Yep. You guys can. I'm not a fan, so I don't want to be the one to.
This frustrated me.
It was a difficult read. Yeah,
I'm gonna let Dex take this.
Yeah,
Pawning everything off on Dex.
that's all right. It was okay. So this book continues to be confusing, 100% because of the art.
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe like 90% because
I'd
of the
say
art.
90
I think
for
there's
sure.
like a couple of times when maybe they could have explained things with some narration or something. But I mean, so anyway, this one was kind of nice because it digs a little bit more into the backstory of this main girl. So essentially, it comes from a family of military. She wanted to join, and as what appears to be like an 18-year birthday present, her dad gets her enlisted, which is.
And she's excited about it,
Just
too.
an awesome birthday
Yeah.
present. Thanks, Dad, kind of thing. And she like even chooses to not graduate from high school and just enlist right then and there. And then basically while she's enlisted, she's really like ruthless and just follows the law 100%. Turns out that this guy Ephraim, who trained her, and he's kind of like a legend, I think, within the military. He's about to kill this terrorist, but then he realizes it's just a kid. She catches him and realizes that he wasn't going to kill the kid. She kills the kid and then kills him for breaking the law. And he was about to like defend himself against her. And then it comes back to her. Apparently, it was a dream, and she's back at the quote unquote present. And she's rifling through the room that she's in. Apparently, it was just they're letting her sleep in some random room, and it turns out that there's a picture that comes out of a book that she was kind of like looking at, and it's the kid that she killed in the picture. I'm pretty sure. And so I don't know what that means. If that means that that's the room she's in, or if it's like somebody's relative of the room that she's in. I don't know. And then basically she goes and this is the part that just really doesn't make any sense to me. She goes and gets the baby. Oh, actually, no, she's being warned by one of the guys that saved her that, if you turn on us, I'm going to kill you. One of those scenes. And then she goes and gets the baby and then starts to nurse the baby.
This bugged the shit out of me.
I don't know if
that doesn't
the
really
writer
make
of this
sense.
book understands how that works. That's,
I was like, was she...
Well, we're in a fantasy world here, so
yeah, where all women lactate 100% of the time.
Yeah,
just
is
whenever.
Is
like
this fantasy milk then? What's happening?
It's fantasy
I'm
milk.
so confused.
Yeah,
awesome.
that's what's going on.
Powdered milk is what he's getting because there's not real milk coming out of this.
What is that powdered milk?
Baby's hungry.
Yeah, and shit, man.
Just suckling on a teat.
Yeah.
And nothing's coming out. I don't
tidbit
get
of
it.
information for you guys.
Yeah.
A non-nursing woman can lactate.
You can?
Yep.
So they're
If
implying
she
that
has-
she's doing
She
this.
has to be attached to the child, and usually the child has to cry, and you can't lactate.
What?
Really? Wow.
I have not researched this nearly
You
enough.
just blew my wig back.
Actually,
Yeah.
mine too. Let's go
Nice.
collect our wigs.
I know. I need a new wig now. Thanks, Ariel. My
Okay,
headphones.
well,
Donald
maybe that's
Trump
how
on
this
us.
works. Maybe
Yes.
I walk that back.
But yeah, that part bugged me initially. So I was like, "What?" But there's been no indication that
Yeah,
prior
no,
to
yeah,
learning
this isn't her
information.
kid, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
this is a highly educational book now, and you just put it up another star.
Yeah, I guess.
Like a half star. Anyway, so yeah, she's nursing this kid now, which is interesting and cool. And then she's wandering around for whatever reason and notices that somebody lets Herod and his men in. Herod being the other
the main villain or
group.
whatever.
Well, there seems to be like these two factions outside of like the main
Mm-hmm.
governing body for which this lady was in the military for. Anyway, and so then Herod and his group of guys come in and just start slaughtering everyone apparently. But she finds the bombs that that have Bluetooth in them that connect to the spray paint. So she just starts spray painting everything and basically blows everybody up. And only it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them get away. Maybe 7, including the baby then, because she's carrying the baby. And it just ends with them running away. And she said, "We are enough." And then you see the sign saying, "We are the few." So they keep. I feel like each comic is ended with that phrase.
I did not enjoy this book.
Right, yeah, I'm just about to the point where I'm gonna stop covering it because there are other things that I'd rather be covering.
Yeah.
I like, and it's I don't know how I want to put this. I get excited when I see it just because it's familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start reading and I realize I remember why I don't like it.
Yeah, well, issue 1 was all right.
I remember
too.
why. Yeah,
Issue 1 was followable.
Yeah.
I mean, we enjoyed issue 1, but we also said the art could be a problem.
It is,
and it continues to be a problem.
And the art has been a problem. This is an instance where, you know, the artist is really talented. They do really good art. It's very good art, and it would be very good for hanging on your wall or making your desktop background on your computer.
Ooh,
but definitely not for reading a comic book, because there's just some storytelling issues here.
Yeah,
and that's all there is to it to me.
For me, like when she's talking to the guy who happens to be he's one of the brothers that found her in book 1, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't even realize that's who it was until halfway through their conversation when they're like, he's like giving her a tour of the facility or whatever, and I'm like, who is this? And then like I finally put the pieces together because he's like, my brother and I, and da 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 da, and if you ever do, you know, and I was like, okay, but should I be able to know who somebody is just by looking at them?
You should, yeah.
Like I should have recognition.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that initially until he started he had to talk for me to know who he was. That's a problem for me.
Well, and this book has such a small cast that you shouldn't have issues recognizing certain people.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you should know who's, you know, how many main characters are there in this book? Like 5, 6, something like that.
Yeah.
4 or 5. Yeah, 6.
Yeah. So enough that there should be a distinction between every single character to me. So
and I don't want to like rag on it or anything, but it's just one of them things where it's like it's good for what it is. The art is great. It's just not for me, like I always say when it comes to stuff like this, and it just took me out of it. Like just having to figure out who's talking. Yeah. Who is this person? I don't recognize this. Oh, this is a guy from book 1. He hasn't spoken since book 1 or 2 or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
and, well, I'm thinking that the book, it might read better like once it's in trade. And like you're reading
it certainly could.
Everything all at once kind of a thing. It would help a lot. Because a lot of it is like that, you know, we're reading, I don't even know if this is coming out monthly or not. I don't remember.
Yeah, it is.
It is, okay. But like there's just enough gap there that like I'm just kind of it's taking a little bit, like you're saying, to kind of get back into it and remember what happened. And it just seems really overly complicated to me too, just the fact that there are these 2 factions and then on top of that the government thing or whoever those guys are. And there's just like kind of, there's too much going on, really.
And I just feel it's an issue with the art, because I do feel that there's probably a really good story here. This almost feels like a storyboard for a movie or something, where I'm just they aren't communicating it well enough to us, because there's something going on here, but I'm just not understanding what it is, and I shouldn't have to try this hard to understand what the comic book.
It could even be a good TV show, like Into the Badlands. I don't know if you guys watch that. It comes on after like Walking Dead now. That's like a post-apocalyptic kind of thing where nobody uses guns, everybody uses swords and stuff, and it's like martial arts and stuff. And they weave a story like kind of like this, but it's super visual and everything. So maybe this could be better as a really visual TV show that breaks down and gets into these characters like a Walking Dead style, where they really hash out this stuff. But in this book form, it wasn't hitting for me, unfortunately.
Sure. Same here. I hate to rag on it, because I think the artist is a very good artist. I just don't think they're telling a good story here.
What would you give it for your rating then?
I don't know, like a 5, I guess. Yeah. It's tough, like 5 or 6.
I'd say 6 for me.
Yeah, somewhere along there. Yeah. Dexter.
I'd say 5 or 6, I suppose. I'm not sure.
Yeah, not sure.
So willy-nilly.
Yeah, 6. Just because I could feel like there was a good story being told.
Yeah.
I just couldn't see it.
Right. And like I said, I got excited when I saw it. I was like, oh, The Few. I recognize this. Sweet.
Yeah.
I look forward to reading this. And I started reading, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and there was like a number 1 this week that I kind of wanted to cover too, that we didn't. Magdelena.
I actually read that.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I'd like to keep reading it. It's pretty classic. Well, I think it's a continuation of an older story, when I read the back, is what it sounded like they were kind of talking about. But basically, there's just a lady who carries this scepter that, which I don't remember if it's made out of one of the nails from hanging Christ on the cross, or if it's the spear that they poked him with. But it gives a woman power as long as she's within like this certain bloodline to fight back the demons, essentially.
Cool.
And so the
That
lady,
sounds awesome.
yeah, it's pretty good. The lady who has it, she's apparently like the longest running Magdelena. That's the title. And she's only in her 20s, which is kind of funny, I guess. So apparently, like, it's a pretty, gruesome job. I mean, you're fighting demons all the time, and she's starting to lose her power from it, and so she's realizing that like God must want her to like find a successor, and so then she goes off on. She's like not healing from her wounds like she should be because she's supposed to have super healing and stuff, and so she goes to fight this demon, and there's another girl there that grabs the scepter and kind of tries to finish the job and does a haphazard way of doing it and ends up releasing the demon into the world, but it turns out that girl is the right bloodline, and so it's kind of it's an origin story for this new Magdelena, essentially. So I think where it's going from there is it's just going to be some more training and then getting into this new story.
Sweet.
It was definitely interesting. I enjoyed it. It was a rough start. It kind of felt a little drug out to be a full comic. Like it probably could have been half the size kind of thing for what it was, but I liked it.
How many pages? 32. Yeah, it's about the normal size.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna read it. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. Yeah, so I could have swapped out the few for this though. For sure, and I think I would have been happier with.
I definitely would give. I give Magdelena. I don't know. I'd say 7-8 stars. So
sweet,
way better.
78 stars, you say?
7 to 8 stars.
78.
I thought you loved it.
I heard
that
78. Yeah,
I only go up to 11.
Oh yeah. All right, so why don't we talk about curse words number 3?
This
Ariel,
is like
do you want to
getting
take this?
punched in the face
Dude.
with fantasy.
Seriously.
It is so much fantasy.
Oh my gosh.
Can I say that
No.
normally fair enough.
Whoa.
No, sorry.
Can I say that normally curse words is one that I really enjoy, and this one took me out of it just because it was like a lot of jumping around stuff, and maybe it was just me, but I got lost a little bit in there for a little while.
Yes.
Anybody else feel this way?
I did a little bit, yeah.
I was like, what's happening with this past stuff with the girl that he was with and everything?
Yeah.
And then I was like, why?
Yeah.
This has been a hard one for me to get into anyway. Like, I don't know if I've ever fully gotten into this story. I've liked the idea, but I don't know.
There was one moment I loved when he took him to see Titanic. Didn't him know there's magic still in the world.
That was awesome.
He's all getting teary-eyed.
Jack!
Yeah.
Get on the door. You're so stupid, Rose.
So who wants to, I guess...
Yeah,
Cover it
you can, Ariel.
I haven't been following it. This is the first issue I picked up, so I was really lost. So if someone else wants to...
It was one to get lost in because I was confused in the middle of it. Like,
Yeah.
Do you want to give a synopsis?
I can try.
Yeah, we don't have to
mean,
go super deep
yeah.
on it, but...
Well, more or less, if I can just really tie it up,
Do it.
it's just more. This issue was basically about him just wallowing in his misery over losing his powers.
Yep.
For the most part, it does paint the picture of with the backstory with him and Ruby, I guess, and showing like some of their past and her battling and I couldn't tell for sure if this was like things that already played out, I guess, where she was kind of reminiscing or something. It looked like it was like him fighting alongside of her and then them like, being together at certain points where they're hugging and everything. And but ultimately it opens up with him at the bar with the koala. What's the koala's name again? It's like
Margaret.
Yeah.
Margaret. There it is.
Yeah, Margaret.
And they're hanging out, and he's just wallowing in his own sorrow and everything. And Margaret's like, "Dude, you got to shake this off and get back on the horse, man. Like, there's magic in the world, as Ariel was saying, And so they're talking, and then some patrons are hearing them talk about it. So they go to see Titanic, and it's funny. I was laughing at this out loud a couple of times because I didn't realize until like maybe about halfway through the bar scene he's wearing a fake beard.
Yeah.
It keeps slipping off.
It's like a Santa Claus beard. It's like around his head or whatever, and so it slips off his face, and he's like all sad and everything. And, he's a sad guy on this one.
Yeah, he is.
But they realize, and Margaret, lets him know, like, hey, dude. And it's one of those tropes where there's like the magic was inside of you all along.
Yeah,
and you could do it all along. It was always with you. It wasn't the object. It was you.
Well, it's not within him. There are like pools of magic. That he
in
has
the world. Okay.
Yeah, so he has to like find the pools of magic. So at least it's not that tropey.
But he paints that picture to him, like you could do anything, man. Put your mind to it.
And then just from watching the movie, he's able to like create this like plant, like just something with leaves. It looks like it's eucalyptus. He's feeding Margaret. That's awesome.
And his beard
starts to grow back. Yeah.
So and then later he's like drunk and he starts like lecturing people and going on these rants in the bar and stuff and just shouting, his beard slipping off his face and everything during that. But yeah, it was a good episode for the most part, but it's really confusing.
Yeah,
in the middle of it.
Well, and it looks like the evil wizard guy. There's some. So the wizard had defeated in the first issue. I think like his like region of the wizarding realm is
under attack or something?
Yeah, it's under attack by the tigers. And it seems like the tigers have gotten like a hold of some machine guns and tanks, which they don't seem to recognize.
That's never a good thing.
Yeah, well, and like the people in this wizarding world don't seem to recognize this equipment. But Ruby Stitch is sent to go kind of take care of it, and she doesn't seem to care, and she just kind of destroys everybody with her weird ruby sword. So it revealing basically that she's just really ridiculously powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got halfway through this and I actually had to stop too, by the way.
Man.
Sorry.
Had to?
Yeah, I did. I started working 2 jobs and then, Mondo just had to come here and do his video game podcast and he had to use my computer to record the show.
I'm such an asshole.
What a dick.
Yep, that's me.
It's 2 episodes in a row where we start talking about dick.
I know. It feels like a Nightwing week on NCR. By the way, cannot have an issue or an episode where we talk about a Nightwing
and not talk
issue
about Dick Grayson
because his name's Dick, and sequentially just like 15 Dick jokes come up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's par for the course.
Yeah, you get a bunch of guys together, you know.
So anyway,
anyway, sorry. So ratings on this one, I can't really rate it because I didn't get all the way through it. I got about halfway through it, but it did seem to sort of fall off the wagon from what it's been.
Yeah.
There was that initial like, holy shit, this is so weird and awesome on the number 1. It was a lot like Reborn number 1 was for me, where it was like, this is a really great concept, and stuff like that really it's interesting because it really tells you like how far can a good concept take you when you don't have good or great storytelling. It takes you the first couple issues, and then if you don't have amazing storytelling to follow up that great idea, then it only takes you so far for me.
I will give this a pass though to some degree because the overall story so far has been entertaining enough and drawn me in enough to like, okay, I'm still eager to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
It just hit a bump in the road. So I'm going to give it a pass for the most part. And if I had to give it a grade, I would probably give it maybe like, I don't know, a 7.
Okay. Yeah, and I do not mean by any means to say that this is a bad story. I'm just saying it's interesting to sort of see that take place, right? See, because it's a pattern that's happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dexter, what would you rate this one?
I don't know, 7. And like I said, this isn't a comic that I've really gotten into very much. I've always been a little confused by everything that's going on. I'm not crazy about the art.
Do you like Magic's like Harry Potter?
I love
stuff?
Harry Potter.
You do? Okay, I wasn't sure.
This comic, it kind of feels like Zelda-ish to me, where like I can't play Zelda. I get bored. But I love watching
certain Zelda games. I get really bored.
But like I love watching people play Zelda, and I like the story. I get bored playing it.
You obviously have not played Breath of the Wild.
No,
yet.
I haven't. No. But
Breath of the Mild.
Whoa.
I don't know. I can't say for sure.
Your answer is even better. Continue, my good sir.
That's all.
Sorry, we keep cutting you off. I'm sorry.
That's all I got. It's just I'm just not crazy about this story. I mean, it seems like it's good. And I'm interested to see where it's going. I mean, I'd like to see how he gets his power back. I'd like to see how the fight with Ruby Stitch goes.
Okay.
And I'm interested just in that main villain just because he's so cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, and that sort of goes to what do you think of the art?
Sorry. Hit my mic. I don't know. It's not great.
Not great.
It's very like typical comic book art, I guess. And I usually get more into like the more interesting stuff, just not too interesting, like The Few apparently. But but I don't know. It just feels very traditional comic book art, very bright colors, I guess, which aren't bad.
Yeah, thick lines. Ariel, what would you
I gave it like a 3 or 4. I was looking for a rope the whole time to like kind of pull me out of the mess. And
Did you go back and read any of the back issues?
no, and I did that on purpose because I read this and I was like, I don't know if I want to.
Yeah.
If you read the back issues, you would, because the first few issues were very good.
Yeah.
Like I think I gave the number 1 like a 9 or something.
I think
Like
so.
it was a really.
This is number
it was
3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which it
Yeah.
feels like it should be a lot further along.
It does.
Yeah. But then you think about, I don't know.
A lot's happened, basically.
Because I think we both gave it like a higher score for the first 2 issues, and this one, it's like I would say 6.5 or a 7.
The first issue was amazing. I was really excited about it. So, all right, cool. So we got just about enough time to talk. Oh, what's up?
No, I'm excited about this.
We got just about enough time to talk about our final book of the week and the graphic novel of the week. And if I can find it here. Okay, it's Black Hammer Volume 1, which is a Dark Horse book.
This was delightful.
It's a lot longer than I expected it to be, and I ran out of time to read it all.
Finish it
I read like 2/3 to 3/4 of it, though.
Yeah, I got the first 4 chapters.
All right, well, let's just talk about the first 4 chapters, I suppose.
Yeah, that's
Or
which
maybe
is
the
plenty.
good students who read it all could take over.
Yeah. Is that just you?
Yeah.
Oh, is it just me?
I guess. This wasn't required, though, was it?
Yeah, we said we were going to read it.
What, the graphic novel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we were going to. That's okay, though. Yeah, you should definitely check it out, though.
Oh, I'm gonna keep going. Yeah.
Because it's like...
I don't even really know what to say about it, just because a lot's going on.
Okay, so if you combined the mythos of superheroes from the DC universe...
Like Golden Age...
Well,
stuff.
no, like real
They
superheroes.
combine like both from Marvel and DC in a way.
Yeah,
Like I
they
see.
have
because one of them's basically Captain America.
He's a mesh
Abraham
of,
Slam.
He's a mesh of look like Captain America and Superman, and then one of them looks
but his
like
history is very
Martian
Captain
he looks
America.
he looks like Martian Manhunter
Well, he
and
is.
Groot together, and the other guy.
But his
looks-
history or his backstory is very Martian Manhunter, being
Sure,
from Mars
sure.
and being able to transform, and he's a cop.
Yeah.
Or was a cop.
Raven from Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Is that the girl?
Yeah, the Dragonfly, Madam Dragonfly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There's even a
Then
guy
there's
who looks like Galactus, but with Darkseid's face.
Galactus
There's
or Darkseid?
Shazam.
Oh, that's
too.
the villain. That's one of the
Yeah.
villains, yeah. That is just in the backstories.
Right.
But yeah, the little girl, Golden Gale,
Yeah.
is basically Shazam. But instead of being a boy that turns into a man, it's a woman who turns into a little girl.
Like a
Yeah,
9-year-old.
yeah. Well, and so that's what I guess I was. The second part of that was like combining the DC and Marvel or general superhero mythos with the general like pithiness and hatefulness of Watchmen. And you get Black Hammer. Because it's a story about some superheroes that have a power sets that are very similar to the heroes we know and love.
Right.
I feel like they did that very, very purposefully. They're like, let's make a Martian Manhunter, let's make a Shazam, but let's make them just totally washed up, pissed off assholes at the end of their ropes and just talk about how kind of terrible the world is and how badly the world treats these superheroes.
Well, and like as far as I got to read, I didn't necessarily get to the reasoning behind everything or like the breaking point, I suppose. But like, so it turns out that like this superhero who went by the name Black Hammer, he's gone right now.
Yeah, he saved them.
Yeah, he saved them somehow. And his hammer is just kind of like laying on the farm that they
Every
live
year
at.
they paid like tribute to him.
Yeah.
Like remind themselves of like okay, even though we're in a place that maybe we all don't want to be in and
can't leave.
And we can't leave and whatnot, and we all reminisce about, our better days and everything, but, remember that he sacrificed this for us, and our existence is what it is.
Yeah.
We got to make the best of it and that whole thing, so.
Right.
Yeah, and they're all stuck in a place, in a small town. And some of them enjoy that small town life. Others, like this little girl, is now stuck. She's kind of like the girl from I Hate Fairyland, where she's an old woman stuck in a little girl's body.
Yeah.
And she's having to like play this charade of like going to school and grade school and stuff. And it's just like
cigarettes.
She smokes cigarettes and cusses.
Like
she's like me. So yeah, I mean, no, so her story is really interesting.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. There's not much more I can say about it other than, like, if you really enjoy the DC comic book mythos, and I say DC more than Marvel because it is a little more mythologically based.
Yeah.
It's more close to DC than it is to Marvel. Just in terms of like the way they handle their superheroes, and like the wizard who gave the girl powers, and the guy from Mars who's like a god among men kind of on Earth and stuff. So
I love the stuff that they did though, as far as like some of the funny things. Like in the beginning, like it shows like the Martian guy, like the robot, making them breakfast.
Talkie-walkie?
Yeah,
talkie-walkie. He's like making them like bacon, and the other guy's like, she's like, get your feet, like they're like a family. He's like, get your feet off the table, like and he's like, I'll do what I want. And he's like, maybe some more bacon while you're at it, like get in the kitchen and do it, kind of thing.
But then like they're all very like you said, they're like a family, because the robot Talkie-walkie is making like a probe to go figure out, like to try to get the word out and figure out how to get out of their situation.
I don't know if you guys made it this far, but Black Hammer's daughter is a scientist,
and she's trying to find
him.
Yeah,
and in the end, she finds one of his probes and finds their location. So.
Yeah, but then like what's his Barbalian? That's the Martian's name, and they call him Barbie.
Yeah, I love their names. In this.
But like Barbalian, he seems very happy to help. Like, even though he's like telling the Talkie-walkie he's an idiot for doing it, but he's just like, but I'm gonna come help you every time, kind of thing. Yeah. So they're very much a family.
I love that snarkiness too. Like you see Golden Gale sitting on like the rooftop, and he's like, "What are you doing up here, brooding?" And then she's like, "Yeah, basically." It's like, "Oh, where do you come? Did the main guy?" He's like, "Did Abraham send you?" And he's like, "No, I just came up here. You know, I don't do what Abraham tells me to do." Yeah. And he sits down. And he's like, "I'm just gonna brood with you." He's like, "What would you do if I wasn't around?" He's like, "Just brood alone." Just their dialogue is it's fun. It kept the hooks in me as far as I got. I have about halfway to go, but I'm going to finish reading it. Yeah,
there's a lot of reading.
And typically with a lot of that kind of stuff, it sometimes can be a turnoff if it's too much, but this does it in a positive.
They tell a really good story.
A great story where it kept me going, even though there's a lot of that going on. So it didn't bother me at all.
Yeah. Talk about the art a little bit. What do y'all think of the artwork?
I love it.
I love the art. Like this is like it combines some of the cool like superhero stuff with some like R. Crumb maybe. Like, do you guys know who R. Crumb is? Robert Crumb. He's like an old comic book artist, but he wrote weird comic. They're called Weird Comics.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Let me see if I can find some of his stuff to show you guys.
There's some sweet splashes too. While you're looking
at like stuff like this,
like page 35.
Oh yeah. Well, weird comics.
I love that.
Yeah, like he drew that really weird like. His stuff was so obscene and just way dimensions away from what DC and Marvel stood for. But this is like it combines that type of art with a Watchmen type story. I don't know. I loved it.
The flashbacks were really great because it kind of felt like you were in that golden age.
Well, and the covers too. Like I love the golden age like covers that we get where it's like, hold on, let me find this one because like there was. Black Hammer Comics, America's super sweetheart Golden Gale delivers fun, action, laughs, and thrills. Like, and it just looks like a golden age cover.
Well, I just keep hearing somebody's voice saying it like in an old 1940s
radio voice.
Golden Gale.
Yeah, I know.
It
does, man. Like it's great.
And in that particular issue, when they had a flashback to her being like, I think when she was kind of explaining growing up, but then always going back to being a girl whenever she turned into her super self, I guess. Or maybe, I don't know. Anyway, it was in the in a flashback. She's like concerned, like, oh, if I turn into Golden Gale, this guy is going to see me as a little kid, and he's not going to like me anymore. And like, kind of having those same like really silly issues that like the men writing comic books back then thought women had.
Yeah, it was a very like Golden Age Archie inner monologue where it was like this teenage girl sort of, and that's how. Yeah, God.
Well, it reminded me of like those old covers of. Batgirl, like, and Batman and Robin are like, oh, you have to come help us. She's like, oh, I can't. There's a run in my hose.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Or like Noah was talking about, where like, Batgirl, like back in the, I don't know if it was in the show or the movie, but she had like, lipstick with like sneeze powder in it, and just the most fucking sexist stuff. Those were her weapons. It's just, but that it kind of like harkens back to that, and I love the way they only do that stuff in the flashback because it really lends itself to like, I don't know. It almost reminds me of like the videos you see in Fallout 4 where it zaps you back to the past, and you're seeing like them talk about what's the Nuka-Cola and stuff like that.
You'd almost expect it to open a compact and just blow like some like foundation in someone's eyes or something. What the hell's happening?
I know.
Like why?
It's fantastic, man. I love this book. It's so good. It definitely one thing that I really love about it is on the cover, a quote by Mike Mignola, who's the writer of Hellboy. I don't read many comics these days, and I can't remember the last time I read a superhero comic, but I'm loving Black Hammer. And that kind of speaks to like that guy who made Hellboy writes kind of off weird comics. And
Lobster Johnson, my favorite comic book.
Oh, he wrote Lobster Johnson?
Lobster Johnson's in the Hellboy universe.
I still haven't checked that out yet.
I don't know.
Yeah, I got it. I
don't shut up about it.
I know, right? You don't. It's okay. That's fine, man. Be the mouthpiece of Lobster Johnson.
Yeah. There's a joke in there somewhere. Anyway.
I'll leave that up to you to fish around in your mind for that.
I'll leave that to the imagination.
A little nugget for you
the
to
listeners.
chew on
just
that.
A gift for you.
Chew on that.
I don't know what you're saying. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't speak
all right. So do we have anything else to say about Black Hammer?
Ratings?
It's a 10.
It's like
I'm gonna say it's 9.5 to 10.
9.5 for me.
For what I read, I'll give it a 9.
Yeah.
9.5 to 10? I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think a 9.
Yeah.
Nice.
You weren't liking it as much, Ariel.
I didn't go in thinking it was satire, and I was like, man, I've seen this before. I've been with these characters. I'm kind of bored. But, like, trying to think of it as, okay, they're making fun of the tropes of superheroes. I kind of dug it more. So.
Yeah, it's definitely more satirical than it is.
Do you guys read Six Pack and Section 8 Crew at all?
Six Pack and Dog Welder?
Yeah, it's very much like that for me. So I was like, oh, I've just seen this so many times. Like,
yeah, I've heard about that, but I haven't read it.
It's good.
Dog Welder is a guy in the Vertigo universe, I think, or DC or Vertigo, one of the two. His superpower is welding dogs onto people.
What?
I'm not. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Like live dogs?
Doesn't sound that weird.
He talks with a dead dog too.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've never cracked one open. I got too many other books that I read, so I just I don't have time. I might pick one up if it comes out in trade sometime. But yeah, definitely, you guys. I can't encourage you enough to go out and pick up Black Hammer Volume 1. It just released. Yeah. Fantastic read. Just
did that?
Really,
that
really
came out
good.
this week, or do you know?
Yeah,
I thought it did.
Well, it's in our Dropbox as March 17th. So that wasn't a new comic book day, but it was also a graphic novel. So those don't typically adhere to the Wednesday rules. They can come out on
I'll
a Friday.
definitely finish it for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to this probably tonight or tomorrow. So yeah.
Booyah.
All right, cool. Well, we are under on time, but do you guys have anything else to talk about this week?
Yeah, I was going to bring up, and my computer just froze, but about as indie as we can get, maybe. There's a comic that I ran into called North Brother Island by...
Oh, yeah, you did bring that up a while back.
Ingram Comics, I think. I'm about to get my phone out now. Because my computer froze, like I just said. But no, so basically what I'd say it's maybe a horror comic. It's like a mix between maybe The Last of Us, but like not so far where like everything's completely destroyed yet, but like kind of a similar virus kind of taking over people and making them want to go kill other people. And then like Shutter Island. So basically people who get this virus they seem to get kind of shoved off onto this island called North Brother Island. And this is issue number 1 that I read. You can go follow them. I think it's just Ingram Comics on Twitter. I'll find it really quick. But basically what this whole story is there's just a guy, he's in a room with his wife, I imagine, and she has this sickness, and there's different levels, and apparently like your arm, like there's like a number that shows up on your arms to show like what level you're at. And so she was like just about to cross over to the point where she's more zombie-like than human. And he has this medication for her, but he drops it on the ground, and he needs to like get her to like Brazil to get treatment. But she ends up basically crossing over, and he has to kill her. But then it turns out that he's infected too, and the authorities found out about it or something, and he was just kind of like waiting for them to come while her dead body just lays on the ground. So they came and get him, and then he kind of goes through the treatment in a cell with a couple other people and a guy who's insisting that he's not sick. And then the comic just ends with them getting pretty much tied up and then shoved off onto this North Brother Island, and that's where it ends.
Cool.
So it looks really interesting. The art's very, it's maybe on the more, I don't know what to say, cartoony side. I guess just to show you guys.
Yeah, it's sort of more like whimsical. I
guess.
Okay.
But it's a very violent book for sure.
Huh.
Cool.
Very, very interesting. I enjoyed it for not really getting into horror. It's maybe a little more thriller. Like I love the movie Shutter Island, and it just kind of made me feel like it's that level of thriller horror.
Sort of like that introspective horror rather than like as opposed
rather than
to like
jumpy
Saw
horror.
or Jumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
Ben, if I was turning, would you try to rush to give me help or just take care of me right away?
I don't know. What would you do?
You know what I would do.
You would kill me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
So-
zombie apocalypse.
Like, I love you, but I can't watch you do this.
I love you, but I really want to do this. Is that what you said?
I said, I love you, but I have to do this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, if you want to find out more about this comic, just go to Ingram Comics on Twitter, INGRAM Comics. And actually, ingramcomics.com is where you can find it as well.
Sweet.
I was going to say one thing, I don't know if we have a moment. I did read Violent Love, and it finally paid off to let us know who the little girl is. Like,
Yeah.
It's the main character's daughter.
Knew it.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And,
I
the,
was
old,
gonna
and
say.
the old man, they finally revealed it in episode. This is issue 5. The old man is actually an FBI agent or something like that, or an enforcement agent that was in the middle of a gunfight that was with her and Rock in this episode, and it flashed
Not
back,
Casanova?
and it showed who he was. He was in it too.
Oh, okay.
He gets killed, by
good.
the way, and he's like
Oh,
to,
man.
Maybe not
to the
good.
bitter end. He had like a ring and everything, and then proposed to the
Poor
lead
Casanova.
character. I forget
That's
his
some
name.
Yeah.
Titanic stuff going on.
Yeah, so yeah, he to the very end he was like trying to be with her, and she wasn't having it, and he just wasn't gonna let it go. So yeah,
Huh.
so I just wanted to
Okay.
throw that out
Cool.
there. A little payoff
Well,
on that.
Good.
Was
good.
that the last issue then? Or?
Yeah, that was the most recent one. It's not the last one though,
It's gonna keep
because
going?
They're going to
Okay.
continue.
yeah, the main character, forget her name. God, they're gonna get
Yeah.
together now, Rock and her.
Oh,
Probably
cool.
They're gonna start hanging out or whatever, but it's implying that that's how they finally got pushed together completely. Where the other guy was trying to get in the previous episode or issue, he called the La Juara, I believe, whatever the gang's name is.
Yeah.
He told on them because he was upset that Rock was moving on as a girl when he really wasn't. He was trying to show her how to shoot, and so he tells on them. He makes a
Right.
phone call, says, "Hey, I know where that guy is that killed one of your main guys. He's in this camp over here. Come get him." And then as he knows that's coming, he tries to get Daisy, is her name, Daisy, to leave.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, he's like, we're gonna leave, and she's like, I'm not leaving. Like, where are we going? So she kind of fights him on it, and he's like, well, we need to leave. This is we want to be together. I love you and all this stuff. She's like, okay, that's great, but I don't love you like that. And why are you trying to do this? I have a shit that I gotta do, and that whole thing happens, and she tells him to go away, and then he shows back up later and holds a gun at Rock and blah blah blah, and yeah, some crazy shit goes down. But
That's cool.
big gunfight and everything. Dude, Casanova dies. I'm sure Andrew will be happy about that. But other than that, yeah, they finally get together, and yeah, all's well that ends well. And the old man tells this story to the little girl before she goes to bed.
Yeah, it's messed
It's not
up.
a bedtime story. There's
Hey,
like these
man.
two,
Yeah.
these
Well,
two.
I gave her coffee too. It's
Yeah,
like,
but there's these two like
Probably
Hispanic
decaf.
ladies that are like assassins. They got like paint all over them, like they have tattoos all over their faces and stuff. And one of them shoves a knife into like the DEA agent's back or whatever and stuff. It's like that's not bedtime story material.
It was great. That
Yeah.
I saw my air on that.
Yeah.
But anyway, just wanted to say that real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to read that one too. I wish we could cover that instead of the few. So yeah, yeah. But
I suppose.
It happens.
all right. Well, we're just about out of time here. If you guys want to find us on social media, we're Indie Comic Ninja everywhere. If you want to find me on social media, I'm on Twitter at Indie Comic Ben. Where can we find you, Dexter?
On Twitter, Indie Comic Dex.
Cool.
Just to be clear.
DEX. Mondo.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Nerdy Ramondo, or if you want to game with me or just friend me on Xbox or PlayStation, it's Dirty Dimes.
I'm Ariel. oh my gosh, I'm Ariel the Oracle on Twitter. And if you want to read some reviews, go over to
IndieComic.ninja.
Yeah, go there.
IndieComic.ninja or NerdChurchRadio.com.
Isn't it funny how
she
that
is
happens?
Ariel the Oracle, by the way.
Your computer's not open in front of you, so I can see how you didn't have your information. Hence, that's how the Oracle works.
All right. So with that, we are going to let you guys go. Have a great week, everyone.
Later.
Later.